Hey,
What up,
hey, Mother
y'all? Mother
Knows
knows we're back. We are
back
back.
and knowing
And
in
this
these
week,
streets
if you
about these
haven't heard
current
about
happenings.
Risa, if you have not heard about Risa Tisa in this last week or so,
Listen, that mini Netflix series that we got for free
right?
without any subscription.
The sad part is she really could have flipped this into a coin somehow. I mean,
And-
she has, but she could have started a YouTube channel, put parts out, like got
right,
some money on this
right.
thing. Stock ain't
So
paying like another platform would have paid.
right, and like I know people. Okay, so people did. She said they exaggerated how much money she made. Right, she said she didn't make that much, just a little bit. But to your point, like girl, let's I feel like people be in the moment, right? So they're in the moment, they want to rant, they want to
Right.
vent and just get it out. And
Yeah.
they don't think about the aftermath of wait a minute, I could really use this to like catapult, like God always say, use your testimony for your glory. So like if
True.
y'all got
But
any
the way
tea to spill it strategically.
Yeah, but the way she spilled it, I feel like her strategy was what we saw. Like it was 50
That's true.
parts.
Like the
It was
series.
well planned
Yeah.
out. It wasn't like a stream of consciousness. It was like, here's this part I'm gonna tell you, this is this part I'm gonna tell you. She like
Right.
walked us from beginning to end and gave us off shooting points here and
Right.
there,
Right.
special videos. Okay, I'm just gonna break down the family dynamics. I'm just gonna break down the buying the car, like so I think she thought it out and she didn't think it out very well, you know?
That's
Because
true.
I'm
That's
thinking about I think it was on TikTok. They made a movie off of something that happened on oh no, not TikTok, sorry, on Twitter. I think it was like a little while ago. Someone relayed a story on Twitter and then they made a movie off of it. And I don't know that the person whose story it was based off of got the credit from the movie. So I
okay.
feel like you need to just really be strategic when you're doing this, like
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, high level, like, well, first of all, the whole world knows about Risa Tisa at this point. Like, basically, girl met a little, she met a little f boy in her words.
Right.
He was a liar, scammer. This is like the story of of
She met
time when it
another
comes to dating.
she met another Tinder swindler. Did you see that one on Netflix? That was a Netflix one.
Yeah, yeah. So
Same,
I mean,
same,
yeah,
same
basically, the
scenario.
Tinder swindler.
Yeah. So it's
And I
like
mean, go ahead.
for me, I get the whole like what I see when I see like the Risa Tisas of the world, the overarching message of like how blind are we when it comes to love and what all are we going to overlook, because
Right,
a lot of that stuff she had to intentionally overlook.
right. And
Had
I'm
to.
just like, what's the loneliness that people are
Right.
feeling, like the extent of loneliness you feel to avoid or ignore so many red flags
Yeah. Yeah.
to the point that you are potentially, linked to this person for lifetime.
Life. I
Like,
mean, when it comes to having a child with someone potentially,
right,
that's life.
right.
You're buying, your finances are mingled up. That's life. It
Yep,
could be, or the ramifications could continue for a long time. You know what I mean?
yep.
So,
And this I hope that she's processing that, like, okay, because most of your choices decisions are internally based, so what do I need to go within and kind of assess about myself, but also too it's like I need the world, especially those in the dating realm, to please pay attention to the stories and the lessons.
right.
Like you don't have to be another example or another testimony
Mhm.
to somebody else, especially when the lesson is like, had I just
Right.
listened to the reality that I see versus what I want to see in a person,
Hmm.
you know?
No, seriously. I think the good thing about Reese is she kept saying this, like, I'm hoping that it'll help somebody else.
Okay, yeah,
So I do think that she's
she did say
processed
that.
the fact that this story is crazy in and of itself, but hopefully, like I'm coming out here, and she said it a few times, like I'm embarrassing myself so that like somebody else can hear the story and
Girl,
see what I went through. But I mean, when I
girl,
tell you, like, I could only get to I think 9 or 10, because like after a while it's just like, girl, like, and I still have 40 more parts.
girl.
I still have 40 more parts to get through. And I'm like, I can't, there's only but so many times I can be like, okay, all right,
Right,
maybe. But then after that, it's like, girl,
right. like on the eighth part, you're like, okay, at this point, I really can't fathom how we got to point or part 40, you
Right.
know, like
Because
how.
listening to her story, there were so many times where it was clear, like God is trying to get you out of this, boo. Like God is trying
Yeah,
to tell you something. I
yeah,
mean, even from the first date where her car breaks down,
yeah,
that's a sign from God, like,
yeah.
And then like we get to I think so one thing you brought up is like how lonely are you? So they
Mm-hmm.
they met when they met like right before quarantine happened.
Mm.
So like this
Oh,
is
okay, yeah, yeah.
I think quarantine was peak time for scammers.
Woo, let me tell you something. Quarantine was peak time for scammers, for bad decisions,
Yeah.
for situationship. I mean, like, girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
quarantine like just brought out the craziness in too many
Yeah.
people.
Like
Like seriously,
I just need another warm body because I'm in here all day 24/7 by
because I'm
myself.
lonely.
For those who are single, like I just want a warm body here so I can, not be by myself.
Girl,
So I understand it, but the way she broke down this whole encounter was just like from the process of them buying a home to like, her going on realtor.com and seeing, the days when he would be like, oh yeah, we closed on the house, and then seeing it didn't close, or like
right, right.
or went out of escrow. Like, come on, girl. How
Come on,
many times
girl. Come on now.
from him not, God forbid any woman goes through this. Like I hated to hear this for her, but going through a miscarriage and he's not there, you know,
Yeah,
you're stuck in a hospital, like wondering when he's coming because he's not answering his phone like he said he was, or I hate that she had to go through that. And then, she broke down his proposal, how he like slammed down the ring on the
mm,
table and was like, we're getting married basically.
right,
So
right. It's like, again, if you don't have to be linked to a person, right? Like if this is the beginning phase or we're getting to know each other, like take your time, take your
right.
time to truly get to know an individual,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have our baggage, we all have our, especially as grown adults, like we all have our stories, we all have our things. And so I do, I love the fact that number one, she stepped out and was like, okay, it's embarrassing, but this is my story, right? Because
Yeah.
hopefully this can help somebody else.
Yep.
I think that, if you do it, you do it, right? If you go through it, you go through it. So
Mm.
I love the fact that while you might feel shame at, once you learn about being scammed and things like that, it's like, don't own the shame. Like, never
Right.
own
Not your
shame
shame
in
to
what
carry.
you've gone through.
Right. Especially too when it's at the hands of someone who's so deceptive and
Right.
deceiving. Like
Right.
that's not your shame to carry at the end of the day.
Exactly.
At the end of
Exactly.
the day, it's a lesson. Should you have probably learned it a little sooner? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a lesson for you to we've seen. Like her page blew up.
But you know what? That's the other side of, or the powerful side of, someone being lonely,
Vulnerable.
right? The fact that she went through this ordeal and she was like, oh my, like, I just got to get it out. I need to talk,
Mm-hmm.
I need to vent, I need to, and in turn she got support. Now people know her name, like they're sharing her story, they're talking about the lessons, like i.e. us and others. I feel like now she has that community to validate that, yes, like, girl, what you went through was wrong,
It's wrong
like,
and crazy.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
definitely got scammed by a scammer. um but again, it's just owning your story, like owning it, and never letting anybody shame you into telling anything about your journey.
Right. No, I think that's a good point. And the one thing I would say with her is there's a lot of there's a lot of lessons to be learned by her, but I love the way that she was, and we talked about it, strategic, I guess, in the way she relayed her story,
Yeah,
because she could have been like one little rant, one
yeah,
little
for
video
real.
rant, but homegirl put out 50 parts and was like,
50.
I'm going to break this down. I'm going to provide y'all with, the documents that I saw,
Right.
the details, from them going to look for cars and that falling through to, what I loved about that was just, again, she made sure that she didn't hide any parts of it. She was like, I'm the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to make sure that everybody knows what happened. So because
Right.
it could be one small part in my story that helps somebody. You never know what my story is meant for. So I'm giving y'all all the details.
Yep.
And I'm not holding back. So that's good.
Yep. This brings me back to the woman that like found her husband or found out he was cheating. She like called the airport to check on his
the one
flight.
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you really got to be careful with how you play with people because in the age of social media, it's like you're really taking a risk for the world to know, that you're a deceitful, lying person.
Right.
And that's also the other side of it. It's like, okay, like if you feel like you can't be honest or you're still figuring it out or, like you're just not going to take somebody seriously, then you might want to think about how you communicate that and what you participate in with this person because the world will know like it's the risk that comes with it is not worth it, especially if you're someone that claims you have a business, that claims, like you have a career, because I think the guy said that with Reese Tisa coming out, like it's ruining his career. People are coming after him, and it's like, if this is true, karma is always gonna come.
Right. Well, first and foremost, I need to know what career he has because based on that story, you don't got no career, boo. I mean, I don't want to like err on the side of like everything Reese Tisa said was 100% correct because maybe there is some, the truth does maybe sometimes lie in the middle. So
in the middle, right?
Maybe
it's probably this. It's probably
this,
right? You caught me in a lie, but you didn't catch me in all
the lies, right?
Yeah.
But also too, though, like anytime I see someone, I don't know, there's something to be said too about someone who like goes through all of that, right? And allows all of that to come into their life. Like, what's up with you? Like, what's going on in your
I'm telling you.
life?
I'm telling you.
Thinking about her story though, one thing that it brought up for me was how important your circle is, your village is.
Yeah.
And like my girl, y'all, like you and our girls would have been like, Ariel, get it together.
Snap out of it.
This is not it. He is lying.
Like none of it makes sense.
He lied about the house. He lied about the cars. He lied about the, like
exit immediately.
My friends would run it all down and be like, okay, I know what you're thinking and feeling, but here's the reality of the situation. You need to see X, Y, and Z.
And then too, it's like, do you know how old is Reese Tisa? Did she say? I don't remember.
I don't know if she said, but she had to be in her 30s. That's what she looks. She looks to be about in her 30s.
Like the impatient part of me is like at our big ages, we can't afford to keep falling for the okie doke. Like we can't afford to not be seeing people for who they are, especially again when it's like I don't have any history. We don't have any children. Like we don't have years of marriage, right. And now this person has blind. Like you're walking into 1,000 red flags. It just doesn't make sense. And again, it goes. Again, it goes back to you. Like I hate to say it, it goes back to you when you are intentionally ignoring those flags. Like in the beginning,
when the connection isn't that strong,
ain't even right.
Like they literally were talking about where we quarantining I think like 2 weeks into their situation.
Wow. But I will say the quarantine, COVID, pandemic time, it was a scary time. So I do feel like a lot of people left themselves.
Yeah.
During that phase to find connection. Like they like just ignored everything, not everything. They ignored a lot of what meant something to them, their values, their principles.
Yeah.
To feel like I have someone with me during this, during this time of society. I don't know.
Oh, you're 100% right. She even said she struggled internally with the fact that she grew up, like with her family being like, we do not want you cohabitating with someone if you're not married, Then she moves in with him. Then she gets pregnant by him. So it was a lot, she said, that she had to internally kind of push down in order to allow this to happen. But the ultimate thing that the ultimate thing that got me was like she laid out all this stuff before they decided to get married. They didn't get married until like after a lot of this stuff happened. I mean, they didn't he didn't propose until I believe after the miscarriage. So they went from moving in together to him lying about a house. And she said the day
Not
that
being there for the miscarriage.
right, the day that he lied about the house, she knew basically that he was lying. She gave him an out and she looked at him like this. She said she looked at him like this to see what he was gonna say. And she said when he like took the bait and lied, and she was like something in me was just kind of relieved that we could move forward and I could just
Mm. I saw I wouldn't have to let go of the fairy tale. I wouldn't have to face the
yeah
truth.
yeah
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you was down bad.
Ooh, I'm telling you.
I don't never want to be that much in love. In
Again,
love,
child.
because
Not at
that's
one,
not
two
really
months.
love.
Not 1, 2 months in my 30s. No.
No. And I like that again, that's not really love, but
It's
what
attachment.
she, what
Yeah.
she thought at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, we've seen the first saga, we've seen the 50-parter from Risa Tisa now. I think his name is Legion.
I can't remember.
But he now is saying that what she said was a lie.
It's a lie. And he's he said, y'all wait for my Netflix release.
I mean, that would be the smart thing to do.
That would be the smart thing.
Capitalize. I'm not mad at it.
Child. We're gonna
Yeah.
see.
But I feel like that's all I got for Risa. Because she gave
Men,
all she had.
ladies, daters, single people, married people, I don't care. Like, just be a decent person, Like, okay, be a decent person. This is going like to the liars and the scammers. But if they're not decent, be brave enough to see it. Like be brave enough to see it and face it. Especially when it's in the beginning. Like, girl,
Yeah.
you just
It's
can't.
like,
1, 2 months, it's like it's just not gonna happen.
right. I mean, me and you would be out.
It's
First
not
time.
happening, sir.
No. But I think a lot of the theme around her for me was like women specifically, but in general, have, in general, people just have intuition, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of times she kept saying, I don't know what it was. It was something. I don't know what it was, but it was
Girl,
something. Girl, it was you. It
girl,
was that internal, that intuition, that knowing that
uh-huh.
comes, you know, was telling you go, run.
Right. Yeah, your
This ain't
soul
it.
and spirit are never gonna lie to you. Once you
Never.
start getting those feelings in the pit, like like they said, that gut,
Mm-hmm.
uh-uh.
And she kept saying it more and more and more. It's like, girl, this
Yeah.
this was you trying to tell yourself like this
You
ain't
telling you, right. And the unfortunate thing is when you ignore it, that's when the calamity comes, right? That's
mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
usually when the destruction comes. And it's like, had I just mm-mm-mm.
It's like, again, I hate to put it just on women, but we have this divine knowing, I feel like, when
Mm-hmm.
we're aligned with ourselves and with
Mm-hmm.
God, our creator, that is just so powerful.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes to men and F boys, like we too often ignore, that knowing that we have. And I hate that for us because
Yeah.
it really could just steer us in the right directions a lot of times. At
Big ages.
our big ages.
Stop.
On
Stop.
that note,
Young ages, take
right,
note.
right,
And take your time. Get to
right.
know these folks.
Mm-hmm. It's
Like
okay.
there is no
Like,
rush.
you don't gotta move in. You don't gotta
You don't gotta do all that.
child quarantine. I know people have some stories about quarantine, child. It was a time.
Listen,
A time.
because if I ever open up the journal around the quarantine time, honey,
Child.
a
Child.
time. Who child?
Anyway. Mother knows.
Mother knows.
Please follow us, like, comment, share, subscribe. You can find us on TikTok and YouTube at Motha Knows Co. And then on Instagram at Mother_knows. Thank you guys.
Love y'all. Bye.